What is database? It's a collection of related data is known as database. Suppose if I want to work with database, what I want? I must know certain command. With the help of commands only, I can able to interact with the database. After creating a table, okay, what I want to do? I want to insert the values into the table. For that, I'm going to have a command called insert. Hello to all, a warm welcome to PHP and MySQL class. In this session, I'm going to deal about accessing MySQL. I'm your Revati ma'am, faculty from the Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram, first grade college, the Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. So dear student, in my today's session, I'm going to deal with MySQL along with the commands of the MySQL. So dear student, we are familiar with the concept database management system. So dear student, at the beginning, I'm going to divide this database into, data, then database, then I'm going to divide it into database management system. Let me to discuss what is data. So what is data? Data is nothing but the raw fact, or it can be a static or it can be a figure, and if it is stored or recorded, then it is called data. For example, if I consider name, it's of type what? Text. Okay, fine. If I consider age, it's of what? Number. If I consider the image, it's of type image. So the example for data is name, number, image, audio file, video file, and so on. Then what about database? Database is nothing but the collection of related data. Collection of related data. So what is related data? Okay, fine. If I think that I have a database called student. If I consider student database, what are the things I can have? I can have the roll number. That is nothing but the USN. Then I can have the name of the student. At the same time, I can have the marks. I can have the total. Even I can have the percentage. Okay, and if I have certain records in this database and each fields are related to each other, then it is called database. So what is database? It's a collection of related data is known as database. Then what about database management system? See here, I have the data, I have the database. Now what I want the software to manage my database effectively. For that, I'm going to have the database management system. So what is database management system? It's a application software used to manage and manipulate database. So what is manage and manipulate? That's nothing but the creating the database, inserting the data to the database, then querying the requirement or querying the information, maintaining the database, modifying the database. All these things are together called as manipulation. So what is database? It's a collection of related data. And whatever database management system, it's a application software used to manage and manipulate the database. And if I consider database, I can have the examples like student database, employee database. I can have the bank customer database. These are the example for database. And if I consider the database management system, I can have the object-oriented database management system. Even I can have the relational database management system. Even I can have the multimedia database management system, network database management system, hierarchical database management system. So these are the example for database management system. Then the question arises, what is MySQL? So MySQL is nothing but the my structured query language. It's example for relational database management system. So what is relational database management system? That's nothing but the tables are stored in the form of rows and columns. That is known as relational database management system. And this MySQL is the product of Oracle Corporation. So what is MySQL stands for? My structured query language. Okay, now I'm going to use MySQL with the PHP. So what is my front-end design? Okay, I'm going to use PHP, and whatever the backend, that's nothing but the MySQL. Okay, fine. See here, MySQL commands are based on this structured query language, okay, which can support various operating system. In the sense what? I can able to install my configuration with various operating systems like Unix operating system or Linux operating system, Mac operating system, as well as Windows operating system. And this MySQL command line command. Okay, so we are going to get the command prompt. Okay, we are going to get the screen. So we are going to provide the commands. In the sense what? We are going to write the query. Okay, so what is query? See here, if I consider user, okay, users are responsible for writing the query. So who is going to write the query? That is none other than user. Okay, that query is executed by the server. Okay, if I consider MySQL, where I'm going to execute, MySQL is responsible for executing the query. After that, executing in the sense what? It's going to process the query and it's going to return the output. So this command allows us to connect with MySQL servers with the user, and there is username and password. Suppose if I want to connect MySQL server, what are the things I want? I want the username as well as password. Anyway, dear student, we are familiar with SQL, right? So that is structured query language. So if I want to connect to the database, if I want to connect, what I want the username as well as password. Similarly, if I want to connect with MySQL server, what I required the username as well as password. So this is the example. Okay, suppose if I want to connect, what's the command I want to follow? There's nothing but the MySQL. Here U stands for username minus U, and you have to specify the username. And what about minus P? Okay, it is minus P. So minus P stands for what? It is password. Suppose if I want to set the new password, MySQL, okay, it is username minus U, to set new password minus P. Now see here, suppose if I want to work with the database. So what is database? The data are organized in the form of rows and columns. Okay, that is called as database. Suppose if I want to work with database, what I want? I must know certain command. With the help of commands only, I can able to interact with the database. So a database stores the organized collection of records. Records are nothing but the data that can be accessed and managed very easily. And data are represented in the form of tables. So what is table? See, this is my table. What are the things I have? I have the columns and I have the rows. So this is my column. And what about this? This is my row. So what is a database? It's a collection of related data, and data are organized in the form of table. Okay, fine. Suppose if I want to check the existence of the database, okay, in the sense what? Suppose if I want to check the database name is present in the database or not. So what I will do, I'll use a command called create. So what's the command name here? Create is a command name, and I'll write the keyword database. If not exists, okay, then I'm going to specify the database name. It is mainly used to check the database is already, name of the database is already present or not. Now, okay, see here, MySQL use database name. Think that I have created a database. What is the name of the database? Student. Okay, fine. Now what I want to do? I want to use this database. Okay, inside this database, I want to create the tables like course. I want to create the tables like fees. Okay, I want to create the table like internal marks. Now, to create a table, what I want the database. So I want to use that database. For that, I'm going to have the command called use. So what is the command name? Use, and I want to write the database name. Okay, fine. Suppose there are certain time I want to delete the database from the date. I want to delete the database. Okay, for that what I will do, I'll use a command called drop. Okay, what's my command name? Drop. Then specify the database name. If exists, okay, what you have to do, you have to write the database name. Next, suppose if I want to display the databases, then I have the commands like show. What's the command name? Show database. So it's going to display the list of the database which is stored in the current server. Okay, fine. Now I have a concept called working with tables. So what is table? It's a collection of related data stored in the form of rows and columns, in the format of what? Database. Okay, now we have certain commands. Okay, at the same time we are going to display the syntax, how to create a table, how to check the existence of the table, and so on. Now see here, suppose if I want to create a table, what is the command I'm going to use? That is nothing but the create as a command. At the same time, I want to specify the user defined table name. Okay, user defined table name. So what about this one? Table, it's a keyword. It's a keyword. Then what about table name? It's a user defined. It's a user defined table name. Create table, I want to check, right? Suppose whatever the table I'm going to create, it's already stored in the current server or not. For that, okay, I have the condition not exists, okay, and you have to specify the table name. At the same time, what I'm doing here, I'm displaying the column list. For example, okay, say what is my table name? Table name is stud. Okay, fine. If I consider the student, what are the column I have? That is roll number. Okay, then name, then percentage. I'll consider only the percentage, or I can consider only the result. So instead of percentage, I can consider result. Okay. So these roll number, name and results are nothing but the column list. After creating a table, okay, what I want to do, I want to insert the values into the table. For that, I'm going to have a command called insert. So what is my command name? Insert is my command name. Okay, into is a keyword and I want to write the table name. Okay, fine. So field 1, field 2, field n. Values, okay, and I'm going to specify the values. So here fields are nothing but the name of the column. So here, if I consider the example, roll number is nothing but my field, name is nothing but my field, and result is also my field. Okay, fine. So what is the command used to create a table? Create table. Okay, I want to check the presence of the table. So not exits, okay. Then table name, column. Okay, it's a list of columns. Then to insert a value, what's the command? Insert into table name and specify the roll, that is specify the columns. That's nothing but the field 1, field 2 up to field n. Values, you have to enter the value. So it is value 1, value 2, value n. Suppose if I want to delete a table, what's the command? Okay, I'm going to use the command called drop. Then I'm going to specify the table, okay, is a keyword. If exits, okay, and I'm going to write the table name. So if I consider this example, what's my table name? Stud is nothing but the table name. Okay, suppose if I want to show the tables which is present in the particular database, what's the command? I have the command called show. Okay, I have the command called show and I'll write tables. So this command helps to display long list of table names. Next, suppose if I want to add new column, there's nothing but the new field to the existing table, then what's the command name? Alter is my command name. Table, okay, specify the table name. Add, and I'm going to add the column names. Suppose if I want to delete any column, then what is the command name? Alter is a command, okay. Table, and I'm going to write the table name. Okay, fine. Then I'll write drop. Okay, fine. Suppose if I want to alter the table, okay, what is the command? Alter table, table name. Then suppose if I want to delete the column. After deleting the column, what's going to happen? I'm just changing the table. Okay, I'm just changing the fields of the table. So what I will do, first I'm going to start with the alter table, table name. Then I'm going to continue with drop. Which field? That's nothing but the columns I want to drop. I'm going to specify in my query. Okay, fine. Suppose if I want to add any primary key. So why I want primary key? So what is primary key stands for? Dear student, if I consider class, okay, for example, final year 6th semester B.Ca students. So it is third year, that's nothing but the final year. Okay, which semester? 6th semester B.Ca student. In my class, okay, I have 3 members whose name is Adarsh. Okay, so 3 members' name is Adarsh. So what I want to do, how I'm going to identify the names uniquely, for that I'm going to have the primary key. So in order to identify the fields uniquely, I'm going to use primary key. Okay, so first what I will do for the first student, okay, for example, say my primary key is integer, so I'm going to assign the value 1. Next, for second student, okay, what's the primary key? It is 2. For the third one, what is the key? It is 3. So what is primary key? It's a unique identification number. So I just want to identify 2 or more records uniquely. For that, I'm going to have the primary key. Now, how to add a primary key? So what's the command? Alter table. Why I use alter table? Because this table is created already. Okay. So I just want to modify that table. So I'll start with the alter table. I'm going to write the table name. What I want to do? I want to add the primary key. So add primary key, and which field I want to add primary key. So it is nothing but the roll number, right? So I want to specify the column name. That's nothing but the field name. That's nothing but the roll number. Suppose if I want to delete the primary key, what's the command? Delete primary key. Okay. So alter as a command, alter table. I'm going to specify the table name. At the same time, I'm going to drop the primary key. Okay, fine. Now I have some sample program how we can able to connect the MySQL database. Okay, fine. So what is MySQLi object oriented? So what is SQLi stands for? My structured query language improved version. Okay, it is nothing but the improved version. And here I'm writing which programming? PHP program. So I'm writing the PHP program. So how many variables I'm considering here? 3 variables. One for server name, okay, one for username, and one for password. So what is the name of the server? That's nothing but the local host. What is the name of the user? That is username. And what is password? It is password. Okay, all are what? String. Okay, fine. So I'm going to take a variable called connection. So in PHP, if I want to define any variables, we are going to prefix the variable name with the $sign. Okay, I'm going to establish new connection. So new MySQLi. Okay, I want to consider the server name. What I want to pass? Server name, then username and password. Okay, now I'm going to check the connection. If connection is connected and if there is any error, okay, while establishing the connection, if the MySQL generates any error, what I want to do? I want to check the connectivity, right? So I'm going to check the connectivity. If it generates an error, what I want to do? I want to stop the connection, right? So I'll use a method called die. Okay, connection failed. Okay, I'm going to display the error. What kind of error and why the connection has got failed. Suppose if this is true, what I want to do? I just want to display that, okay, connection that is connected successfully. Connections are applied successfully or databases are connected successfully. Fine. Now I have one more example, that is, okay, same thing. I'm writing the PHP code. So localhost, username, password. Okay, fine. Now see here what I'm doing. See, I'm taking the connection. So MySQL connect. Connections are established or not, I'm checking. So what are the things I'm passing? The server name, then username and password. If not connected, okay, if there is no connections are established, I just want to display the message connection failed. Suppose if the connections are established successfully, then what I want to do? I want to display a message that connected successfully. Anyway, dear student, in this unit, we just discussed how to access MySQL in my PHP. So what is the subject name? PHP and MySQL. Okay, so how we can able to use PHP and MySQL to create dynamic web page or to create dynamic website. Anyway, dear student, in this session I started with what is MySQL, how to use the MySQL and certain commands of MySQL. Anyway, dear student, this is all about the 5th unit. And in the subject, we had 5 different units. From this unit, in the sense from each unit, okay, carries 12 marks. Okay, in the final exam, you can expect from each unit 12 marks. Anyway, dear student, thank you for watching my session and thank you for encouraging me, and let's meet in some other subject video. Until that, keep watching and keep learning. Thank you.